True.
over a year now. So
Crazy. So for our NLBA world, this is Devin Gilligan. Devin is a pro basketball player from Southern New Hampshire, I believe, right?
Yeah, New Hampshire, southern part of the
New
state.
Hampshire.
Yes,
So I got the privilege of having Devin as one of my athletes in year one of the Sudbury Five. And as I've kind of said along the way, one of my jobs has always been to monitor their health and their movement patterns and risk patterns and stuff like that. And it's funny because Devin was one that came up very, very quickly in terms of the uniqueness. And I'm a hockey girl originally. So the uniqueness in his movement patterns showed a lot of work, a lot of memory patterns, and a lot of things where Devin didn't have to think a lot about. They just became very natural. And out of all the players that I had that first year in training camp, Devin, just so you know, Devin stood out in terms of the maturity of those patterns and the recognition that the neuromuscular feedback created. So Devin moved very well. And there were a few risk factors we picked up right away, which we were able to work with. So Devin, thank you for joining us. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of why we're doing this, Kyle started this online platform due to COVID. And we wanted to keep these kids working out and engaged and focused and have goals in a time where the world was sending us in all different directions. And I think it's been really, really good. Kyle's gotten a really good group. The kids have a yoga piece. They have a sports psychology piece. Dr. Cam does a chiro kin stretch piece. And then I've got the education pieces in between. So Devin, tell us a little bit about your pro career, where you started, what you've been doing.
Yeah, so originally from New Hampshire, like we said. I went to college at a small school, Southern New Hampshire University. Had a good career there. And then I took off and I was drafted into the NBA Development League, which was short. I was down with the 76ers team, the Delaware 87ers. After that, I was waived by the team just due to roster, too many guys on the roster. Someone had to go, and it just happened to be me. I was waived, and I spent half a season in the Swedish league. And I lived in a small town, Neho, Sweden. And then after that, I came home for the summer, and I went and played in Sudbury and played for the Sudbury Five, which was awesome. And then after that, I went directly to Australia. I went directly to Australia for the summertime, or their winter actually, but our summertime, and spent probably 3 or 4 months down there. Came home, went again directly to I signed a contract in Argentina, and then right before I was supposed to take off for Argentina, I got a notification saying that my contract was no longer valid, right? So and then I luckily a coach from the Canadian League found out, and he was going to Colombia for a tournament, so I went down and played for him, but I got hurt down there, and then came home for a month, and then I went to Indonesia and played in Indonesia for 5 months, something like that. Came home, and now I'm going to Norway on Monday. So
Get out!
Yeah, so it's been a crazy journey. It's been a lot of fun, ups and downs for sure. But like one thing I tell people is everywhere, and Kim's like as good an example of this as possible, is everywhere you go, you meet people that are awesome, and that's the coolest thing. Kid from New Hampshire. I never had intentions to leave the small town that I grew up in, really. And I've played basketball on 5 continents, met amazing people. And, definitely some things I wish I could do a little differently throughout the years, but it's been a great journey so far.
Oh, that's awesome. That's Norway on Monday. So cool. So cool.
Yeah, Norway on Monday. So
huge congrats on that too, man. That is
awesome. So I have some
that's
questions.
Awesome, dude. Keep living that dream for us.
Yeah, I thought I was done. I really did. I was looking for coaching jobs, and just I didn't look at a basketball for 2 months, and then I looked in the mirror and was like, I'm gonna regret it if I'm done. So I'm going back over, and I had a great summer. I was able to get away from basketball for the first time. I played like 4 seasons back to back, essentially. with no rest. I took a little bit of a break, and I needed to, like, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm ready to go again. So it's been cool.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So this drive and motivation that you have, and obviously training continually throughout the year is kind of what we brought you on for. Right. Tell me a little bit about, so one of the topics I've covered with the kids is nutrition. Mm-hmm. And of course, a lot of the things is, so what do you like to do pregame? What is your go-to for energy? What time frame do you like to eat it in?
I don't know. So I can go back to, it really depends on essentially what time the game's at, right?
Yep.
But I can go back to Sudbury, right? We would have our shoot around every single game day, and then we would have our pregame meal right after we watch film, right? And we have a pretty bigger meal. If I remember correctly, it was usually a chicken or something like that. Good healthy food. Sometimes we would have that, a bigger meal. So that's probably shoot around, probably get out early afternoon. We go home for a couple hours, and then normally just a snack. I remember having peanut butter and jelly, fruit, like granola bars all in the locker room. So, I mean, that's pretty much as ideal as you can do it. Sometimes when you go overseas and like you might be on a plane the day of the game, right? So like you might be on a plane flying into a place. So you kind of have to learn to get like mentally tough and like get through. You got to adjust, right? And that's something I think I've grown a lot at through the years is like, all right, maybe you might not be able to have, like in college, I could have my meal, or in Sudbury, I could have my food at the exact same time, right? But sometimes when I'm in Indonesia or Colombia, or I don't know how Norway's going to be, it could be like I'm on a plane at 12 o'clock that day and I got a game at 6. So it's like you got to be able to adjust and kind of got to be mentally tough. But an ideal situation, if you can control that, is one of the things you can control. They say I would do it just how we did it up in Sudbury. I think that was the best it gets.
And we have to thank Ange for those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ange. I miss her too a lot. I miss all you guys.
Oh yeah, we miss you too. Yeah. What about hydration? Do you have a go-to? Is it a Gatorade type thing? Are you a water guy? What do you do for hydration?
So this summer, I just found something called Noon. I don't know if you guys have those in Canada. N-U-U-N, I think it is.
Yeah.
I swear, like I feel great. Because of quarantine, right? I've been playing a lot outside, and it's 100 degrees, right? So you're sweating like crazy, and like instead of cramping up, the Noon electrolytes, they have different ones, right? That are like, it's essentially just electrolytes, right? And then some have a different ingredient, whether it's like a little bit of caffeine, like 40 milligrams of caffeine or something, or like that's for before, and then after there's like some that rest that might have like more magnesium or different. I don't know the breakdown, but I just know that those drinks have been phenomenal for me so far.
For those who don't know, Noon is really common along long distance runners. It's something that they come in pills that can drop in water. They come in little packets. And in Sudbury, we find them, I think Sport Check might have them, and the running room has them. So yeah, we do have them in Canada, and they are very effective. So that's good, because that's not something I brought up.
And they're not that expensive either. I think it's like around here, it's like $5 for like 14 tablets or something, which is like 30 cents a tablet or something. So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, no, they're good for sure. Do you take any supplements?
Right now, no, I don't. I did. If you remember, I was taking a lot of like pre-workout and stuff like that, which I don't do that anymore. I drink one other drink. It's called Axio, which is like a nootropic drink, but it's not like a sports supplement. It's like for like your brain. Maddie's, my wife's mom, got me taking those, and it's got, I don't know the ingredients. She broke it all down for me, but it's something to do with oxidative stress, and it's supposed to be good for your brain, and I like it. It's called Axio by LifeVantage is the company.
Yep. Did you ever take a protein or a creatine or glutamine, like in your years playing pro? Did you ever take anything else?
Yes, especially like early on in college, I did. And I did like the protein shakes and because when you get to college, like I was a skinny kid, and like, well, when I was young, I was a chubby kid, and then I got to be a really skinny kid, right? So you get to college and you're like 18 years old, you're playing against grown men, and what you guys call it university, right? We call it, but you get there and you're playing against grown men, and you had to like bulk up, right? So the strength coach goes, okay, you're gonna drink these protein shakes, and you're gonna put creatine in it, and I mean, I know I went from a skinny kid to a pretty muscular, big, strong guy pretty quickly. And I know that had a lot to do with like the lifting and stuff, but on top of like eating well, the nutrition, and sleeping well, which is something that a lot of kids don't do. And I've noticed I've been working with a lot of kids. Like I'd say like training, nutrition, sleep is probably the 3. Then on top of that, it'd be like any supplements that you guys can take would be good too, for sure.
I agree 100%. That's the best. That's the list we've been working off for the last 13 weeks too, is nutrition, supplements, sleep is huge. Yep, for sure. So aside from being all over 5 continents, tell me what your biggest struggle has been in an injury type scenario, and how you overcame it.
So an injury would be like a bodily injury would be. So the only really time I've struggled with an injury would be in Colombia, right? So I was playing for a coach that I really liked, Bernardo Fitzgonzalez. So he was in Cape Breton when I was with Sudbury, and Logan actually helped me get the job.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was really, I mean, I'm still really thankful for him for that. Logan helped me get the job. It was right after Australia and Argentina, and so I was playing, and it was in the middle. So I was down there for training camp, and he's a real tough coach, and it kind of worked well with me. I think we were on the same page, having a really good time. But again, we were in training camp for 2-a-days every day, right? And in order to get like, I wasn't shooting the ball the way I liked, right? So I would go early. Instead of taking the car with everyone else, I'd walk there in the morning, right? Then I'd go do extra shooting, which is good, right? You need to be doing that. But I think it was just too much for my body. And so like maybe 3.5 weeks in, I got I developed tendonitis in my ankle, right? And I really like Colombia, and I really like being down there, but it wasn't like it was something I kept telling, like, if we had Kim, she'd fix it and I'd go back and play, right? And I kept saying that. I remember talking to my dad. I'm like, yeah, but we don't have that, right? Because they were trying to treat it like a sprained ankle. They just, whether they didn't have the knowledge or if it was a language thing. And then yeah, so that would be the one injury that I can really, that's the only time, because I mean, I played all 40 games in Canada. I didn't miss any games. Sweden, I didn't miss any games. Indonesia, I didn't miss any games. But again, I was just really banged up in Indonesia. I didn't let my body heal from Colombia. But yeah, so the one injury that I can speak of is that. And I think with that is when I came home, again, I went and saw a trainer who I really like, and he was able to do some stuff to it. But it was reoccurring all season, and whether that was just because just overuse maybe. But I mean, it's taken care of now, and I feel amazing. So, and on the grand scheme of things, injury wise, like it's nothing. But to me, it was like enough where like I really couldn't play on it because there was no one who really had any knowledge about it down there that I could get in touch with. But yeah, so that would be the one thing that I can really think of.
So for you, because I know what it is, you get tib post tendonitis. So tibialis posterior is the muscle that puts the toes down. So you need to train just for the rest of your career. Eccentric. Right? So eccentric tib post exercises. If you Google those, you'll be golden.
Okay, I got that, Kim. I will. Okay. I've been doing some stuff for it, but I will definitely check that.
Okay.
Right,
okay, so the one thing we want the kids to kind of get a feeling from all my talks and what everybody's been doing in this group is the importance of not necessarily not having an off season, but being able to change your skill season to your strength and conditioning season to your recovery seasons. And I mean, this is kind of a broad question, but could you shed some light on how you split your year up and how important it is just to keep training, and the elite train year round, and the ones that don't put the time and effort when the coach isn't looking, they really never get to where you are sitting right now.
Right. Yeah. So I think what I just did, and my whole life, like I've been obsessed with basketball, right? So like I was the type of kid who would go to the park or to the YMCA or to the gym. Like I'd go to practice, then I'd have my dad take me there. I'd have my dad take me to the next town over because there's better basketball, right? Like that's just how I've always been. And so I'd go from one season, right? And then I'd never stop playing, which as a kid, it didn't matter. Like I just had energy. I kept going, right? But what I wouldn't recommend is what I did this past year, right? Play 40 straight games in a short month in Sudbury, right? And then you finish your season, and you know how hard that is, like how that takes on your body, so many back-to-backs and stuff like that. And then I went straight to Australia and played another 15 games. And then I went straight to Colombia and played games. And I went straight to Indonesia to play games. What I would do is what I did this year. I've never felt better. Is I finished my season in Indonesia. And again, I really didn't have – in my mind, I was looking for what's next. I wasn't really thinking about basketball, but I was still lifting all the time and training my body because, like, I just like to lift weights and stuff like that. So, and I was doing yoga and I like just like stuff for fun. Like I was lifting and doing yoga and stuff that I never really focused on. I have this thing called a Naboso mat, which is supposed to be like for like strengthening your feet. And that's something that I really felt like I benefited from. So I think like ideal situation is you play your season, right? And in your season, you get your extra work in. If you have a trainer that you can go see, you go see your trainer. And you focus on your body and you work really hard in practice, and after practice you get extra shots up. But then once the season's over, take some time and work on your body, right? Because whether it's 1 month, 2 months, I don't really know what a kid needs exactly. But for me, by taking this time and working on my body, and I didn't look at a basketball, probably you don't need to go a month or two, but take some time and really focus on the other aspects other than just skill work. And then after you can build your body up, then you go back and you continue to work on your skills every day. Because one, I think it's good for your mind, and I think it's really good for your body. Me, I really liked it, so I never wanted to take a break. I'd get bored after a day or two. But I really think it's taken my game to the next level because your skills are super important, but when you get to the level of like the NBL, right, everyone's really good, right? So like then you take a guy like Travis Relaford, right, was a great athlete. He's a really good player, and he was a really good athlete, right? So, like, if you can – and some guys will never be an athlete like that, right? But if you can go from an athlete like what you are right now and seek a guy out like this, right, and you can work on your body, maybe you can get to here, right? And that can be the difference between making it to the level that you want to get to and not. So that's my advice. I rambled on a little bit, but I think I hit something.
No, that's good. Because what we want to be able to teach them is that the time that they spend with Kyle or their coach or their high school coach or university coach is really just a very small piece of the overall development.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to put in the personal time where there is no gratification, there's no cheerleaders, there's no mom or dad in the stands saying, good shot, good ball, and you don't do the personal private stuff to change your body and to get the body prepared, then that's all you're going to stay is a recreational athlete.
Absolutely. That's for sure.
That it really does take all those extra pieces, right? And a lot of people just want the instant gratification.
Right, yeah. And I see that a lot. I see it a lot with kids too. And I think that's why, I don't know if it's like this in Canada, but around here, video games are getting super popular, right? Because you can be the best video game player in the world when you're 11, right? You can't be the best basketball player in the world when you're 11. Right. Eventually you hit a ceiling with video games, right? But I'm 26, I still feel like I'm getting better at basketball. So it's like that instant gratification, you can be great at it, but when you're 11 playing basketball, you might not be, you don't look like what you see on TV, but eventually you can be if you just keep, and then that can change your life if you can get, really good at basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting season, obviously, with all the COVID stuff and everybody not being able to get into gyms.
Right. Yeah.
And even our courts are out. So I don't know if you guys had it, but our outdoor facilities were even bylaw. You weren't allowed to be at them. So, what Kyle's done is put together a driveway program so the kids could at least do it in the driveway.
Right. No, that's really cool. I follow him on Instagram, so I see all that. And that was really cool that he did that. I did something similar down here. And it was really cool. There's a lot of great kids who really love basketball. And that's the other thing, basketball is global, right? So, I live in a city that's, similar size to Sudbury, right? And it's similar town, right? And, so because you can be it might not be that hard to be that good, to be one of the top players in Manchester where I live, or one of the top players in Sudbury, like, it is hard. You got to work to be one of the top players, right? In a city like these or a state like New Hampshire. But like, just know, like, you should aim to be the best player in your town, or like, if that's your goal, right? If your goal is to play in college or whatever professionally, but like, then there's a whole nother town next door or a whole nother city next door. And like, in order to get to the level where guys are just as good as you, if not better, and like, you really got to continue to work. Like, you're never good enough, right? Like, you can be really good, but there's always so much better that you can be. And that's just like by putting in that work in the driveway with Coach Kyle and stuff like that. Like, that's, everyone's just a basketball and a 10-foot hoop. And anything's possible with it, really.
And for a lot of kids, it's an affordable solution. Hockey here is incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
Ice time right now in Sudbury is about $300 an hour.
Wow. Yeah.
But for a basketball, and you know, it's insane. Like, even for us to get 2 sets of goalie pads is about $6,000. So
what?
it's, you know, basketball, like you said, it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So to be part of something like basketball,
Right.
we can take kids that are less fortunate. It's not a rich man's sport.
No.
And we can have that interaction with great kids, and
For
it's
sure.
a great sport, you know,
It
and it's you know, it's I've loved my time with the Sudbury Five.
No.
You know, I've learned and grown as a practitioner too. You know, so basketball's definitely created a lot of unique possibilities for a lot of people in the world.
I definitely agree, yeah.
And it's going to keep doing so, especially with people like Kyle. You know, so
For sure.
do you have any other points that you could give these kids with everything you've accomplished?
If I could give them one thing, right? A couple things, all right? One thing is, if you're from New Hampshire and you're my size, 6'5", 6'4", you're one of the tallest guys around, right? But so like a coach is gonna want to put you at center when you're a little kid, right? But like, then you see at the NBL level, or especially like the NBA level, right? If you're 6'5", you're the size of a point guard, right? If you're 6'2", that doesn't mean, like, if you're shorter, you can still be a basketball player, right? But if you're shorter and you try to play like a center or a power forward, you can't do that, right? Because guys are bigger, right? So like, when you're a little kid, like, if you're 6 foot, if you're the tallest kid on the team and your coach tells you to play center, in the game, go play center, right? Listen to your coach. But when you're out and about, still work on your big man stuff, but work on your guard stuff too, because like, you got to be able to handle the ball, you got to be able to shoot the ball, you got to be able to pass the ball. Like, I would say, until you're like 17, 18 years old, you don't have a position, right? Because everyone develops differently, and different things like that. Like, you always want to be working on your guard skills, because worst case, you grow to 6'9", right? And then you have some guard skills, and you're an NBA player, you know? And I guess that's worst case, but best case too. And the other thing is, this is what I tell the kids. I'm like, 2 most important things is, like, when you play basketball is, and again, we've even talked about this, right? Is having fun and confidence, right? Like, when I'm playing my best basketball is when, one, I'm not like I'm focused on the most fun thing you can do in basketball is win, right? So you put that and you say, I want to go win, right? And you go have fun, right? Like, don't stress, like, but like, go have fun. And that's when you're going to play your best and give yourself the best chance to win. And also playing with confidence. Like, I had a teacher that told me, like, Larry Bird once said he loved missing shots because he's a 50% shooter. That means he's going to make the next one. You know, so like, just have fun and play with confidence and enjoy yourself. And basketball, to me, is the best game in the world. And I hope all these kids know how lucky they are to have you and Kyle around. And, hope they continue to play basketball for as long as they want and have a great time with it.
Well, thank you, Devin. It's brought me great pleasure to see that face again and know that you're doing well. I've certainly missed you guys, and my basketball is, you know, team or my family. There's no doubt you'll always be an extension of that. So if you ever need anything or run anything by me, you're always welcome to do so. So thank you for sharing everything, all your expertise with these kids. They'll take a lot from it, I have no doubt. And man, good luck in Norway on Monday. That's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
See you, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Kim.